Sagittarius, the week of August 19th to August 25th carries a very specific invitation through Seven of Swords. This is less about chasing a dramatic sign and more about recognizing a pattern that has become ready for conscious choice. Your thesis is straightforward: privacy can protect integrity when it is conscious, while secrecy becomes corrosive when it protects what you would not defend in daylight. The challenge lives in the space between strategy versus deception. If you can recognize that difference in real time, you will have something more useful than certainty about the future. You will have a way to decide what belongs to you, what deserves your energy, and what kind of response will leave you respecting yourself after the moment has passed. The verified cosmic weather gives that card a precise context. On August 22nd, the Sun enters Virgo in your 10th house, bringing attention toward career, reputation, leadership, visibility, responsibility, and public consequences. Then on August 25th, Mercury enters Virgo in that same 10th house, adding language, analysis, decisions, and practical thought to the same territory. Those are the only transits we need for this reading. Their usefulness is not that they guarantee an event, it is that they identify a part of life where greater attention may be timely. Virgo asks for detail, usefulness, and discernment. Your card tells you what kind of inner posture to bring to those details. Together, they encourage you to notice what is actually working, what is merely familiar, and what small correction could make a larger difference than another dramatic promise. Your card for the week is Seven of Swords. At its best, this card is not a slogan, it is a decision-making instrument. It asks you to slow down enough to see motive, method, and consequence at the same time. The shadow to watch is announcing too early or hiding for reasons you are unwilling to examine. That does not mean you should become suspicious of every impulse. It means you should become interested in the reason beneath the impulse. When you feel urgency, ask what the urgency is trying to protect. When you feel resistance, ask whether the resistance is wisdom, fear, fatigue, or habit. Seven of Swords becomes useful when it moves you from automatic reaction toward a choice you can actually explain to yourself. The deeper meaning of Seven of Swords for Sagittarius is not about performing the obvious keyword of the card. It is about applying its wisdom where your usual strengths can become overextended. This week, strategy versus deception may show up in subtle ways, in how long you wait before answering, how quickly you volunteer, what you assume another person means, or what you keep doing because it once worked. The key is to recognize that your first instinct can be intelligent and still incomplete. Give yourself one additional beat before important choices. Ask what the choice is protecting, what it is building, and what cost it creates if repeated for 6 months. That longer horizon turns tarot from a mood into a practical lens. Let's move through the areas of life, because the card becomes clearer when it touches something concrete. Love. In love and close connection, respect the difference between privacy and concealment. Important choices that affect another person require honesty, while every inner thought does not require immediate disclosure. The deeper task is to watch whether you are asking another person to manage an insecurity that really needs a clearer conversation with yourself. Relationships become more honest when expectations are spoken before resentment has to translate them. If you are partnered, focus on the quality of the agreement rather than winning a moment. If you are single, focus on behavior that is repeatable rather than chemistry that is only intense. The card does not ask you to close your heart. It asks you to keep your standards connected to reality. Work. In work and purpose, research before announcing. Document agreements, read details, and keep early-stage plans close to people who can actually help. Precision can protect reputation better than charisma alone. This is a week to value processes that can be repeated. One heroic effort can rescue a deadline, but it rarely creates a sustainable professional life. Ask what the work needs in order to be cleaner, more legible, or more aligned with your actual role. If you are considering a change, look at the structure around the change as carefully as the possibility itself. Competence is not only what you can do under pressure, it is what you can build so that pressure is not always required. Money. With money and resources, look twice at hidden costs, vague terms, transition expenses, and optimistic assumptions. Accurate information is part of strategy. Try to move one financial choice out of the emotional fog and into a written decision. Numbers can trigger fear, hope, pride, or avoidance, but the number itself is still information. Give yourself enough compassion to look clearly and enough discipline to act on what you see. The goal is not to become rigid. It is to reduce the number of financial decisions that have to be reinvented every time your mood changes. Health and energy. For health and energy, notice where you borrow from tomorrow to perform today. Clever short-term workarounds around sleep, recovery, or stress can create a larger long-term cost. Your body does not need to become another arena where you prove discipline or goodness. Treat signals as information. Notice which practices actually restore capacity and which only create the feeling that you are being productive about your well-being. Sustainable care usually looks less dramatic than a reset. It looks like choices you can repeat even when the week becomes inconvenient. There is also a psychological layer worth naming. For Sagittarius, the week may expose how quickly you equate familiarity with safety. Seven of Swords interrupts that reflex by asking whether the familiar response still produces the result you want. You do not need to reject your natural style. You need to become more selective about when it is useful. This is where the distinction between strategy versus deception becomes practical. The mature choice may feel less dramatic because it does not need to prove anything in the moment. It may simply create less cleanup tomorrow. Pay attention to that. Peace after a decision is useful information. Now let's walk through the week day by day. These are reflection points, not predictions about fixed events. Wednesday. Gather information before making a public commitment. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Thursday. Work quietly on the proposal, application, portfolio, or plan without collecting everyone's reaction. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Friday. Run an integrity check. If the strategy would embarrass you when explained clearly, change the strategy. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Saturday. The Sun enters Virgo in your 10th house. Let precision and competence protect your public position. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Sunday. Separate ambition from image by asking which goal you would still pursue without admiration. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Monday. Decide consciously what remains private and what materially affects others enough to require disclosure. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Tuesday. Mercury enters Virgo in your 10th house. Refine the message, document, pitch, or professional conversation until the objective is unmistakable. Do not force a major conclusion from one moment. Use the day to observe the pattern and make the next reasonable choice. Before we close, here are exactly 3 journal prompts for the week. Prompt 1. What am I keeping private because it needs protection, and what am I hiding because it needs accountability? Prompt 2. Which professional move would benefit from better information before public action? Prompt 3. Where am I using short-term cleverness in a way that creates long-term cost? Your weekly guidance is a concrete assignment, not another idea to admire. Write a public-private strategy memo. Divide your current plans into public now and private until ready, and write a legitimate reason beside each placement. Add a temporary third category called review for anything you are hiding from fear, shame, or questionable ethics. Resolve one review item this week through disclosure, correction, or a cleaner strategy. The purpose is to create evidence. By the end of the week, you should be able to point to one behavior that changed because you understood the card differently. Keep the exercise small enough to finish. A completed experiment teaches you more than an ambitious ritual you abandon halfway through. As you close this reading, remember the central thesis. Privacy can protect integrity when it is conscious, while secrecy becomes corrosive when it protects what you would not defend in daylight. You are not required to know the entire outcome. You are being asked to choose the quality of your participation. Let 7 of Swords become a reminder that symbolic guidance is most useful when it returns you to agency, honesty, and practical action. Your affirmation for the week is, I protect what is still becoming without compromising the truth that keeps me respected. Carry that with you through August 25th. Subscribe so your next weekly reading is waiting for you. Trust the timing. The stars have spoken.